them, and we investigated issues with way stations. And while he's there, Jack, he has a list of questions for him. He also, Clay, this is my report to the town.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of these things. We recently went up to see Ken at Moltenboro, and Ken quizzed him on an island day similar to
What we do.
what we
Yeah.
do. It's going to be another day other than that, but Clay has the ear of these surrounding
Yep.
people. As a matter of fact, I was on another case having nothing to do with the town, and I'm on Snow Road in Effingham, and their little recycling operation. Hey, how they saw me, Tuftonboro nameplate on my car. How's Clay doing? So he has a following, shall I
Oh,
say?
yeah, yeah. Oh, he's a good guy. All right, I have a note in here about doors on the equipment shed up on 171 being pushed open.
Yes, I left a message for Jim. I noticed that the barn doors on the tractor shed on 171 were pushed open when they leaned back the snow, and the state did. I know in the past he and his crew have fixed like the roof, so I asked him to look into it.
Okay. And another note on dislodgement of a rock in the triangle at 109 High Street in Melvin Village.
Yes, during the recent snowstorm, a plow truck had dislodged a couple rocks from the little triangle at Route 109 and High Street, and his guys went down and replanted them in that little garden triangle.
Okay. This is an email you passed along, Lloyd.
Yes. Want me to read it in the record?
That's fine, sure.
Okay, I've received the attached letter from Jeff Hayes at Lakes Region and his concern for the town. The letter is, "Hi Lloyd, how's it going? Another note, do you have any tax delinquent properties in town that may have fuel tanks or oil stains? Can we get a list of your tax delinquent properties? We have 100% brownfields funding to assist with these types of properties. We are also aware that many shorefront owners buried fuel tanks before any permits were required, and we can access grant funding to remove these tanks free of cost." And that's Jeff Hayes, who's the chairman there. I sent a copy to here, conservation and also code enforcement, and I made the comment, I was thinking of the reported old dump site on Lang Pond Road that we heard Sue talk about. I was wondering if there's some buried tanks on some of the properties.
Union Wharf Road, she was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
yes. Thank you. On some of the properties that we're talking about getting rid of junk cars and whatnot, I'm wondering what else is there. I passed it on to Jack. Also, there was an old town dump that's behind the town garage on the edge of the Great Meadows easement on Sodom Road. I had Steve look at this and he made the comment, Steve Wingate. "Yes, any of this information can help us manage in the future. Note request for a list of tax delinquent properties." It's something for nothing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Can I work with Karen
Yeah.
and move forward?
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the LRPC has a letter here that we're copied on regarding two intersections in Tuftonboro. I know it's been an ongoing source
Yes.
of conversation. The 109, 109A intersection in Melvin, that's a sharp corner, and the Route 171 Ledge Hill Road intersection that has very poor visibility issues as you try and enter it. I'm not going to read the whole letter here, but he goes through and identifies a number of the factors at each of the intersections, and what he says is work to address both intersections is beyond a small-scale maintenance operation. Realignment of both would require a formal project inclusion in the 10-year transportation improvement plan. Town should work with the abutter at Ledge Hill Road intersection to reach some agreement to improve sight distance for motorists, blah, blah, blah. So what he's saying, and this letter is from Alan Hanscom, who's a district engineer for our District 3, is that if anything's going to get done on these, it's the only way, the vehicle to get them done is to get it in the 10-year maintenance plan, right? Or transportation improvement plan. And
Mark Howard has very quietly worked on behalf of the town on a number of projects. And Lakes Region Planning has worked with them. First of all, they've kept, for example, Mark in Lakes Region got the repaving of 171 back on the 10-year plan. I'd like to make 2 suggestions. Number one, could I have a color copy of this letter? The other thing is, would it be appropriate, and would it be cost effective to put the entire letter along with the color pictures right on the town website?
I think it's fine. I think put it up on the town website is fine. You know, it's,
I will make a comment. I'm aware that 2 people were almost killed at the Four Corners last year. One was coming up the hill, 171, one was coming down the hill, and a trailer truck loaded with chips at 35 miles an hour came up from the school, and both of them, why they weren't hit, I don't know.
So how does one go about getting it on the 10-year transportation improvement plan? Is that something that,
That's something that Lakes Region Planning and Mark Howard are continuing to investigate.
did you see this?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
And you want to address your
yes.
item here?
I first penned this January 12th, but I held off. I'm always looking to combine resources here. The town of Tufton Borough is well served by our department heads and different committee chairmen. There are 2 individuals that have served the town well. Our road agent Jim Bean arrived at midterm several terms ago and has been re-elected 3 times. He very seldom, has never increased his hourly rates. He oversees the largest budget total in town, and he needs to respond to some serious weather conditions that no one can predict. His equipment is subject to constant adverse work conditions. His program saves the town substantial dollars in equipment costs, labor costs, and employee benefits. Clay Gallagher at the transfer station has had an excellent record of his department management and savings to the town. Both departments are similar in that they are an industry that provides services to the public. Clay currently works 36 hours a week. He has reached the end of his pay range. He has a proven record of problem solving with budget constraints. My suggestion is that the town authorize Clay to work up to 4 hours a week as an administrative assistant to the road agent. Clay would assist the road agent in research, planning, and the administration of his efforts as a road agent. Jim can manage the day-to-day operations. They are demanding and do not leave much time for administrative support. This is a win-win situation. You can try it for the next 2 years. And I have a suggestion on how we can fund it.
With Clay helping him out.
Yes, and it would come out of Jim's budget, the top line.
Yeah, well, he's overspent his winter budget, as we
Yes,
talked about earlier.
yes.
So,
So what you're suggesting is that we, this board employ Clay to do administrative work for the road agent?
That he would work for the road agent, get paid by the road agent.
yeah, I think the road agent has to bring that to us. He's
Yeah.
elected.
Right. And why don't we have them both in and talk about it?
The road agent as an elected official,
Yes.
right, controls within his budget how he spends his dollars, how he allocates his resources. I don't have any problem with him saying, I need some administrative help and I've got money to pay for it. But I think it takes on a whole different flavor if this board says,
You
here's
need something
here's
else.
how we're gonna help you, Mr. Road Agent, to do
This is
your
how you're
job.
gonna pay for it.
Yeah, we're gonna provide you with a resource out of the budget that you already have, whether you like it or not.
I'm not suggesting that.
Okay, so he has the responsibility for administration of his
Yes.
his operation. So if he thinks it's a good idea, then I think he can do it.
Yeah, he needs to bring the idea to us.
Okay?
I don't think we need to bring the idea to him. I'm not suggesting he never talk to him again, but that's how it's gonna work.
Okay.
All right, so we have a number of correspondence items with no action required in here.
I have nothing in there I want to bring up.
All right.
That's a good idea you had. Separate
You know,
one
it's,
out.
a number of, anybody that's interested in going through this stuff, it's
Yep.
great stuff. There are a number of property transfers in here. I was gonna go through and count the number. Easily half of them are family transfers, which means that there isn't any
Trust funds.
any dollars changing hands. Of the ones that were sales, some sold for more than their assessed valuation, some sold for less than their assessed valuation. So it's, I don't, going through and looking at these, I don't see that, hey, everything's great. I do want to highlight the invitation for bid from the Fire and Rescue for a new piece of apparatus. It's on the town website. Bids are due to the fire station by Thursday, May 10th, and the bids will be opened at the Selectmen's meeting on Monday, May 14th. And they did identify the bid will not be awarded at that time, which is, but the bid opening will be at our meeting on the 14th of May. This is for the new piece of apparatus that was approved on the town warrant this year. All right. So now I skipped right over Selectmen's updates. I'm sorry. All right, Selectmen's updates.
As per our conversation on Friday, I went up and took a look at the boat launch at
Yep.
And there was no stake in the water. The stake that I think they're referring to is on the land, and nothing's changed there. There was one rock moved back out into the road, or next to the roadway, I guess to give a easternmost terminus to the parking area. So I think we need to get the road agent up there to move that back into
Okay.
that line of rocks. And I don't know that we're at full pond yet, or we didn't ride down to the dam. But even with us not being at full pond, the boat launch is what it is, what it's always been. It's
Mhm.
right next to the bridge.
So that grade stake that was in that drawing didn't,
I didn't
It
see
wasn't
a
here.
grade stake in the water at that location. So
Yes, I didn't
maybe
see
they
it.
put a pin down. Did you
Well,
see
it
it?
was-
No,
it was not identified as a pin or a monument, it was just a grade stake that we
Yeah.
had in there, so it may have come out before
Right.
ice fishing season.
Yeah, I think hopefully they can talk about, I think we were pretty clear that that's the boat launch we've got and we're happy with it. That's all we're gonna get.
That's what's there
And
today.
the agent
and-
can-
Where are you speaking?
This is
Nelson?
Beach Pond.
on Lower Beach Pond.
Oh, okay.
On Brown Road,
Yeah.
the area by the culvert there where folks,
Launch their boats.
yeah, bomb houses and boats go in. Yeah, there has been some conversation about the possibility of a boat launch area on the other side of the pond, up off of Tibbetts Road. But that's a huge.
Mountain goat territory.
Well, that's a huge undertaking, because there's a road that, it's a private road that would have to become town road, and there is no boat launch there currently. There's a piece of shoreline, but it's private property. I know there's been some conversation about an access point for the fire department to draw water up there, down at the end of Tibbetts Road. Nothing formal at this point that I'm aware of there, and certainly to go from that idea to a boat launch, there are a lot of steps and whatnot between there and there, here and there. And the other thing is, the nature of where boats are put in down on Brown Road now sort of limits the boats that go in. Anything, I think, beyond a small fishing boat would be pretty tough to get in down in that area. If we put a ramp in up on the other end, up by the dam, then you,
Put anything you want in there.
yeah, or put some
That's towable.
larger craft in there. Okay?
And I'm going to the, I lost my notice, but I know it's in there. The meeting on the
Oh,
addiction problem.
Yeah.
It's in Tamworth tomorrow morning at 9.
yeah. Lloyd?
Kingswood Regional High School senior Dawson Cotreau, Cotreau, lives in East Wakefield. He's a student out of the student work-study program of Kingswood. He works at the Tufton Borough Fire Department. He's also an Eagle Scout. He recently won the Albert Dow Award, and I request that we send a letter of recognition.
Good idea.
Al Dow was a friend of yours, a friend of mine. You guys used to ski together or whatnot. Just for the record, he died about 30 years ago making a rescue on Mount Washington. He's a hero from Tufton Borough, so I'd like to give that information to Karen.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
Do we have a target date for the computer server update for the police department, Karen?
I spoke to Tom last week, and him and the chief are trying to coordinate to get together.
Is there anything, well, I guess I'm asking the wrong person. I'm wondering if there's anything the selectmen can do to move the process along.
No, it's just them trying to get their schedules.
I'm not trying to mind their business, but to me, record keeping for a police department is. The other thing is, have we received a copy of the new parking regulations?
No.
Okay.
The ones that we worked on
Yes.
election day, and he was gonna improve the draft, and we were gonna sit down and review them again, right? Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion on the lifeguard appointment?
We do. Want to go ahead and, you want to take care of that?
What's his name?
We interviewed Isaiah Henriksen for the aquatic director position during our work session, or before our work session on Friday. And he's a young man that has pretty extensive experience waterfront, working up at Camp Central, among other places. Comes highly recommended. So I will move that we appoint Isaiah Henriksen as Tufton Borough's aquatic director for this season.
I second that, and I'd like to make a comment. There's money in the budget. The recreation department has done an excellent job. I happened to, quite by accident, bump into a couple of people who know this gentleman, and I asked a question, and one of them has worked for him. I said, would you hire him again, knowing what you know now? He says, yes, and I'll put that in writing. And the other two were complimentary. So thank you to the Recreation Committee. Welcome aboard, as I move the question.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I have two other things. We're at the busy time of year, and I'm wondering, would it be appropriate, for example, I think in April, we have 5 Mondays and 2 of them were not meeting. I personally would rather come in and handle just a few items each of those Mondays than, be here all day. So could there be a suggestion that we add 1 or 2 Mondays to the schedule?
We could certainly add time, or we could do a Friday work session.
I'm totally flexible. I gotta be here Friday to sign checks, so
Is the week of the 23rd one of those Mondays?
We meet 2, 9, and 23.
Okay.
So, and we don't meet on the 16th or the 30th.
I can't add anything else on that week of the 23rd.
Okay.
So if we're gonna add something, I guess it would have to be the 16th or a Friday. I mean,
Yep.
But the week of the 23rd, I'm really not available.
there's another reason why I suggest this. You made the suggestion last year that on some of our hot topics, we talk about it and let the video and the YouTube do their thing, and that has been excellent in my opinion. I'm not saying it's on every issue, but it allows people to pick up the phone or see me
Right.
someplace and bend my ear, and I like that suggestion, so.
Well, I'm going to suggest that we schedule a work session for Friday the 13th. We're meeting next Monday. We are not meeting on the 16th, and I know that. If we meet on the 16th, somebody's going to subscribe because you're not here that day, but which is we could get around it. So if we have a work session on the 13th, then that kind of covers that in between week.
Yeah, I agree with that. That works. That works. Unless if something crazy.
So we can firm up what we're going to deal with next week.
Sure.
Just that time. All right.
Well, the next thing I wanted to bring up was task assignments.
Okay.
I think it was Friday we talked about this a little bit.
Yes.
In volunteering to create a file and checklist on warrant articles, I think I volunteered to be the budget committee
Rep again.
rep again. And I don't mind doing that at all. And I'm currently doing Parks and Rec, so I don't mind doing that. I don't think I've ever gone to an ag meeting, I just haven't done it.
The grass grows without you, sir.
It seems to, right? I'm not a terribly good gardener as it is.
On that note, I have some free time coming up, and there's 2 thoughts in my mind. First of all, as chairman, having just been through it, you have some additional responsibilities and whatnot. I'd like to volunteer for the CIP committee.
Okay.
And you're gonna stay on the planning board?
I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's important for
Yep.
continuity.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's it, what I have.
Excuse me. Do the rest remain the same?
The rest,
Conservation?
yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to be added to ag? Or
What's that?
does anyone want to go?
I'll try to go to ag, unless you wanna go, Bill, I just don't. I just don't see the-
Ag commission?
I'll do ag. I mean, I'm giving up a significant time requirement with CIP, so that's gonna be fine. All right, the only item that I have that I want to highlight is planning board Thursday night. Mary Pinkham Langer, who's the state gravel guru, is going to be here and we invited all of the existing non-permitted pit owners in Tufton Borough. We are approaching a time when the non-permitted pits by law go away. And so the real question is, where do we go from here? This was a situation that was established 30 plus years ago by the state legislature and wasn't embraced by us until 2 years ago. But we have responsibility for them. They got to be permitted to operate by law. And the challenge for the small pits that we have that have been operating along is it may take a significant amount of money up front in order to do the work you need to do to permit these pits properly. And so how do we bridge that issue? Guy that doesn't generate a lot of revenue out of his pit, but does do some commercial activity, if he's faced with a huge surveying and remediation plan and all that kind of thing issue up front, becomes no longer an official gravel pit. Does that mean no gravel comes out of there? I don't know, but if we make the situation too onerous for folks, then it just goes underground. And pardon the pun, but
I've heard her speak and she's excellent.
she is excellent, and she has a
We don't really have any latitude when it comes, I mean, let's just say for a moment that the legislature got off their ass and did something and we ended up with a little more tax revenue from gravel taxes.
Right.
Now we could offset some of that expense.
Yes.
Take on some of the oversight or the creation of oversight. We don't have any revenue to do anything with. And we're sort of stuck between allowing it, and I think part of the reason we sat on the fence for so long is because it's been seen as an unfunded mandate from the state. So they're telling us we have to do certain things, and we're kind of stuck between, we need to have supplies of gravel and sand for septic systems and driveways and every other thing.
Foundations, yeah.
But if we don't act, are we allowing some larger operator to come in, let's say, and buy up a pit with no conditions and just take out, a couple 100,000 yards and leave it as a desert? I mean, we have to have some regulation as far as closure is concerned.
Well,
and
when the law changed, which was in the late 80s, there was a provision that would grandfather all of these small guys, that they would never have to do what they have to do now.
Right.
But because the town of Tufton Borough didn't step up at that time and set it up, the opportunity for that grandfathering, that window closed in the early 90s. And so that's the ideal way to deal with it is, okay, you're a small pit operator, you've been here, you've been doing this right along, you can just keep doing it. But the way the legislation was written, I think it envisioned this, but it wasn't an unlimited time period, and 30 years later, we're well beyond that window for having it happen. So I think it's...
And we don't really have a lot of latitude as far as the type of closure we let happen.
No.
I mean, we can't customize our closure requirements. The state mandates this. I mean, that's part of the big problem.
Yes.
There wasn't an exercise of grandfather, and now we're stuck with, some small pit owner is gonna have considerably larger per acre investment.
Well, if you don't generate a lot of revenue out of your pit, which most of the small guys don't, then where are you gonna, how is that gonna bring you enough revenue to pay the $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more that you need to do to properly have it surveyed and planned and all this stuff?
Right.
You're just bringing a little money on the side, And it's, you don't have to be a sophisticated businessman to recognize that if you're gonna put that much money into getting an approved pit, you're gonna have to ramp the scale of your operation up significantly, or you're never gonna bring in the revenue to offset what you have in cost. So I'm interested in the conversation. I hope we get the existing folks to come out and have a dialogue with her, and maybe there's some wiggle room here that we can find that
Yeah,
everybody.
because I don't think you're gonna do away with the need.
No.
And if everybody who lives in Tufton Road just wants to send their money over to Boston Sand and Gravel, I guess that's the way it's gonna happen, but I mean,
Right.
that's gonna ramp up the cost of everything. I mean, if you have to do anything with sand.
Right. So that's all I had. Do we have any other business?
Oh, we got hands.
Oh, okay, so.
Go ahead, Principal.
Mr.
Down
Massey.
at the town beach, the bound between the state road and the town grass area, that chain link fence got pretty well hit last winter with the state dumping its snow on top of it. Do we pay that, or should the state pay that, or is it repaired?
I think if it's on our property, we end up with it.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know, but, and I haven't been down there to,
It's an eyesore right
yeah.
now, like this.
Hmm.
Nothing's been pushed over, but it's pretty way back.
Not aesthetic.
Yeah. All right, so,
Today I can speak for myself and others. There is certainly an element of folks in town who find the mere concept that a government entity can take anyone's property by eminent domain both distasteful and abhorrent. We know that there are many laws which are legal but are neither moral nor ethical. So be advised that the general population does have an element that feels that although Wolfboro is trying to fix the problem it created, taking land in Tuftonboro would not be the solution that we would approve of. Thank you.
thank you, Guy.
Totally unrelated.
Well, okay, Alyssa?
Oh, did you have
I'll
someone?
defer to newspaper.
Okay. When do you anticipate work commencing on the Sodom Road Bridge?
I think
It's
the
spring.
contractor's gonna be here next Monday, right?
I believe they're gonna begin
for-
after
to-
school's out.
To sign the,
I think that's what
contract.
they're- And that's right, so they'll be in next Monday.
So that's in the works. And what is your assessed valuation?
Gross.
I don't